guy that took money to build a driveway, and when they caught him, he said, oh, let me reimburse, I used the wrong credit card, right? Took it out of the Republican Party. When you look at what he's done, he takes a house. He buys a house for $178,000 or so. He sells it to a lobbyist for $380,000, a lobbyist that's dealing with him in the state of Florida. You tell me that's what we're going to have as our senator, and that's what we're going to have as our president? There's no way. There's no way. You can't do it. You can't do it. You know, we have a problem. These guys, all of them, I'm self-funding my campaign, folks. I don't care. We're going to make the right decisions. I'm self-funding. But these guys are all taken care of when you get right down to it, whether it's the drug industry where we don't bid competitively drugs, you know, drugs to make you better. We have pharmaceutical companies and we have an industry. They take care of these people. Tell me, isn't it fun to be at a Trump rally? Isn't this fun? It's part of the deal. It's like part of the deal. I remember, okay, you remember this? I said, well, he's not going to make it. Bernie Sanders is speaking. And these two young women came up and they took over the microphone. Do you remember that? And he walked away. And I said to myself, wow. But you remember they came up, no microphone's going to be taken over from me. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you that. Because they're not taking it over from me, they're taking it over from you. Can't happen. And I'll never forget that scene. He looked so weak and so pathetic. And by the way, he's over anyway. It's not going to happen. You saw what happened yesterday. Now, in all fairness, Hillary should not be allowed to run because she broke the law. She should not be allowed to run. She's probably protected by the Democrats, but she should not be allowed to run, folks, I'll tell you. You either have laws or you don't have laws, and what she did, you look at General Petraeus, you look at so many people have gotten into such hot water over that and gone away. You know where I'm talking about. And with her, and by the way, did you ever see so many, how do you do 10,000 emails, 20,000, 40,000? How the hell do you do so many emails? Does anybody do emails like that? So let's see what happens. I think we're going to have to run against her, which is good. Frankly, I think it's great. And I will beat her. The other guys are not going to beat her, folks. They're not going to win. They're not going to win. And I guarantee you one thing. We're going to be talking about those emails every moment of every day. And we're going to shame them into doing the right thing. But we're going to beat Hillary. Polls have come out where I'm leading her recently. Polls have come out where I'm USA Today, the Q poll, others. Fox recently came out with a poll. I'm beating her. I haven't even started on her yet, folks. She's not right now part of the equation, you know, to be honest with you. I like to do one thing first. And if you look, take a look at the people. Governor Walker, nice guy, but he attacked Trump, right? Jeb Bush, very nice person, right? Okay, so I don't want to get, Lindsey Graham, this poor guy. And you know, he was so vicious, he was so vicious. And his idea of the war, you know, he thinks he's a military expert. He says, I'm a military expert. We've been listening to this guy for years. Where are we? With nowhere. I know what to do. You know what to do. What I told you to do is the right way to do it. If we listen to some of these guys on the military, we're going to be over there for another 20 years. We can't do it. Look, we've spent $2 trillion in Iraq. We have absolutely nothing. We've lost thousands and thousands of great, great military, young, beautiful people. We've got wounded warriors who I love all over the place. And you know what we have? Nothing. We have nothing. We don't even call them anymore. And you know who's taking over Iraq and the second largest oil supplies? We have the second largest reserves in the world. People don't even know that in Iraq. Iran is taking, for years, they'd fight. They'd fight for years, they'd stop, they'd rest. Then they'd fight for years. Saddam Hussein, gas, they don't like it, everybody complains, they'd stop. Then it goes the other way. They move to, they had the same power. And then we get up, we blast the hell out of one of the power. So now, what happens? Iran is taking over. So not only do they make the greatest deal that I've ever seen made, they got $150 billion. They should have never gotten that money. They should have released our prisoners 4 years ago, not after they get the money like it's ransom. You know, I tell that story all the time. One of the dumbest deals, they never walked. I kept saying, they're going to walk now. They're going to walk now. Because we kept giving up on every single point. In Iran, they were dancing in the streets. The people are dancing. Obama's calling the head, the supreme leader. I will never call him, I promise you, the supreme leader. I will never. But you know what you do? Okay, so let's say 3.5, 4 years ago, they had the prisoners. And you walk in, because this deal was going on forever. Did you ever see a deal so long? And it's a horrible deal. So you walk in and you say, fellas, great negotiators, the Persians are great negotiators. They all read The Art of the Deal too, by the way. I can tell you, our people didn't read it. Our people did not read it. But you walk in and you say very nicely, and I tell this story, and actually one of the reporters from the New York Times thought the story. They loved the story. I'll tell you a little bit. My father was a good guy. He taught me how to negotiate a little bit, and he was a really good guy. Oh, by the way, this little Rubio guy said my father gave me $200 million. My sister called me up. She said, no, Dad, are you kidding? My brother called up. What the hell? I started off with $1 million and built a company that's worth over $10 billion. That's what it is. Yeah. I heard about the 200 million. I said, 200 million. He actually copied a false story from the New York Times. I have to tell you, the New York Times is one of the most dishonest media groups that I've ever seen in my life. One of the most dishonest. Now, here's the good news. It's losing its shirt. It's going to be out of business soon, although somebody's going to buy it as a vanity project. But the New York Times is so dishonest. They did a story recently that was highly inaccurate. They realized it was inaccurate. They agreed with me. I said, are you going to pull it? No. Why? Why wouldn't you pull? If a story's inaccurate. And I said to the press, and they're giving me a little heat, because obviously they don't want this, they have to report accurately. And if they don't report accurately, we, all of us, should have the right to sue them, okay? And you know what? This has nothing to do with freedom of the press, which I believe in totally. But when they don't report accurately, we should have the right to sue them and get them to report accurately and also damages. Because right now, we have libel laws that don't mean a thing. And I will tell you, and it's going to make it tougher, because they'll be tougher on me now. They are so dishonest, these reporters. They are the worst. They are, I'll tell you what, here, I'm running against people. I've dealt with politicians all my life. And watch, you'll leave here, you're not going to see this crowd. They're not going to show the crowd. You're going to leave here, and you'll say, you know, we had 32,000 people, 35 standing out there, which they just won't allow more than that. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to read a story tomorrow. It's going to say Donald Trump made a speech in front of a, okay crowd. They won't even say okay. But here's the story. When they write inaccurately, we have to have the right to hold them to what they write. And if it's inaccurate, we have the right to get damages. Right now, we get nothing. They are going to regret all of the bad stories they write so much. I will say this. I'm running against very dishonest people, all right? Little Marco Rubio, a total featherweight. He's not a lightweight. This guy, and honestly, I have to tell you, until Marco started going to town calling me a con man, I'm a con man. You know, when you build a great business and you build a tremendous net worth and you build Trump Tower and you build all of these jobs I built, I have Turnberry now in Scotland. I have Doral Country Club where you're going to have the big tournament next week in Miami. Hundreds and hundreds of acres. I have so many jobs, buildings all over. The Bank of America building, a big chunk in San Francisco, one of the great buildings of the world. 1290 Avenue of the Americas, among the largest floor plates in the country. Big, beautiful stuff. Built a city on the west side of Manhattan on the Hudson River from 72nd Street all the way down. And I say, I'm a con man. It was such an insulting thing. You don't call somebody of achievement. You don't do that. You don't call somebody of achievement when you've done nothing. This guy is a dishonest guy. He bought the house, he sold it to a lobbyist. He did so many things. Ask him about his driveway. You just don't do that stuff, folks. Besides that, he's not cool, he sweats too much, and I don't want him negotiating for us. Now, with that being said, we have lying Ted Cruz. I have to be honest. These people that I'm dealing with are the worst people. Ted Cruz will get up and say things. I am totally against Obamacare. Anybody that's followed me from the time that thing was implemented, which should have never been allowed, frankly, by the Republicans. But Obama lied 28 different times. You can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan, all the stuff, and got just enough Democrats to get it done, right? And I'll tell you what, when Ted Cruz says Donald Trump likes Obamacare, and he knows it's a lie, when he says other things, I won't even go into it because it's disgusting. These people are really bad. Now, I've dealt with politicians all my life. Some are very good, but many are really dishonest. I don't think they're as bad as the press, I'll be honest with you. I think the press is probably worse. But we're going to straighten out our country. We're going to come up with solutions. When these guys, and you can ask the Disney folks, you can ask the people that came up who were just killed at Disney, killed, where they're being replaced, they have to change jobs, they have to train people. You heard the story. You know who was in charge of that? And the biggest proponent of doing that is little Marco Rubio, okay? I mean, this guy is bad news. But here's the story, folks. We're going to start making great deals for our country. We have a poor country. We are in trouble. We have $19 trillion in debt. It's going up to $21 trillion. We have people that don't have a clue. We have a budget that was just passed, which is a total disaster. You saw the budget, the omnibus. They call it the omnibus budget. Just passed. We are going to start having wonderful budgets. We're going to make this country so strong again. We're going to build up our military, which is so depleted. Our military is so depleted from mismanagement and misuse and going all over and not knowing what to do. And by listening to guys like Lindsey Graham, drop bombs here, drop bombs on Assad, drop bombs on ISIS. Oh, but they're fighting each other, so maybe we shouldn't do that. How can you do this one if you're doing that one? That's why we're there for so long, folks. You got to do one thing at a time. We take out ISIS, number one. We take out ISIS. And you know, I got a lot of heat. Putin was very nice to me. He said, Donald Trump is a genius. All right, I'll take that, right? Not gonna, hey, let me tell you, he's not getting anything for it, okay? He said, Donald Trump is a genius. And Donald Trump is going to be the great leader of the party. So he said that. I don't know if he meant it. Probably did, to be honest with you. He sees crowds like this. Why not? So these guys come up, these people come up. They say, we want Mr. Trump to disavow that statement. Why would I disavow? Guy calls you a genius. Is anybody going to disavow? We don't disavow. What's wrong with having Russia work with us instead of always fighting? What's wrong with having Russia drop bombs all the hell over ISIS? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? So, I mean, we just have so many wrong things. So when this all started, June 16th, I came down. And a lot of the pundits said, oh, he's never going to run, he's never going to run. Then I announced I'm running. Then they said he's never going to sign Form A. That's where you sign your life away. I mean, you think this is fun? I want to tell you, running for president takes guts. It takes guts. It's not easy. And my wife told me, it was very interesting, Melania. She said, you know, if you run, you love Melania? That's beautiful. She's great. She's great. She's great. And it's not easy for her either. I will tell you this. It is a tough thing. When we came down that escalator, and I said, let's go. I took a deep breath, and I made a speech, and I talked about illegal immigration, and all hell broke out. And you wouldn't even be talking about immigration and illegal immigration, which is a far bigger problem than anyone knew. Nobody knew how grave it was. I knew. because I have friends that live in California, I have friends that live in Texas, I have friends that live all over the place, and I have friends also that have become addicted to drugs that flow through that border. We won New Hampshire. I was treated so well in the state of New Hampshire. Not only did I win it, but there are great people up there. And you go up to New Hampshire and you see the people, and their biggest problem, the first thing they always tell me about is they have a tremendous heroin problem. Tremendous.